when you download an app and it stinks, boop, you delete it, right? Not cool, bad for business, and ultimately bad for you. So you don't want that to happen. So what can you do? Well, you can implement different technologies or different methodologies like DevOps, continuous integration and DevOps, uh, and delivery to accelerate the process. And there's a lot of scope for improvement. And of late, as you know, artificial intelligence-based augmented testing is really taking center stage and showing us how to really embrace and accelerate our efforts. So that's why I'm excited about this as well. And if I don't know, according to Gartner, the use of AI can dramatically increase the efficiency rate of test automation tools, and it gives us all the more reason to quickly adopt new methods and ways that we can explore AI augmented testing and see how it could really help you scale up your automation efforts to build and release high quality apps faster. Right. So I know a lot of people are excited to get into the session. So you're in the right place if you want to learn how to use AI for creating self-healing capabilities for your test scripts, how to use AI for faster test coverage, how to use AI to use intelligent object identification, and how to use AI to accelerate test execution with automation, parallel testing, and much more. All right, for this session, in order to get the best video, what we did is we pre-recorded the session just because we had some wonky internet, but Avinash is in the green room. He's ready for your live Q&A. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the session. It's only like 20, 23 minutes because we wanted to have most of the time filled with your questions. So we're going to take questions at the very end. But as you're listening to this session, I highly recommend you get your questions in. We'll be interacting with you in the chat, and then we're going to bring in Avinash for the live Q&A piece of it. All right, hopefully that makes sense. So let's do this. Get your questions in. I'm really excited. Once again, give a round of applause already for participating in the chat, and really excited to have you all here. All right, let's get to the session. I really love this, followed by live Q&A, and let's do it.
Creating this community where we can share and learn and share ideas. Thank you so much, Joe. Great work by you and your team in creating this community where we can share and learn and share ideas. A very warm welcome to everyone who is part of this session. I'm so glad to see so much interest in this topic. The last few years, we have seen two black swan events. The first one was pandemic, which really pushed the digital acceleration across enterprises, across all kinds of businesses. And this acceleration happened at a breakneck pace, which was never seen before. The second black swan event happened a few months back with OpenAPI launching ChatGPT. And this is turning out to be a huge step in democratizing access of AI. So this talk, today's talk, is kind of an intersection of both the events in the context of app testing. So we're going to talk about AI augmented testing for digital apps. So over next 30 to 35 minutes, I have plans to cover following. The first is how AI is changing the tech landscape at a very high level. What are the testing use cases that we have seen in the industry, our enterprises or our customers are using right now? And towards the end, I wanted to focus more on how we are leveraging AI in pCloudy to solve some of the testing challenges for our customers. So with that, first thing first, I just wanted to have a quick intro for anyone who is not familiar with pCloudy. pCloudy is one of the leading platforms for mobile application and web browser testing. Started in 2016, we have grown very fast, serving more than 1,000 plus customers across the globe. Our customers have run million plus automated tests in real environment, which consist of close to 2,000 plus devices and browsers. And our ratings that you see on the slide is a reflection of amazing love that customers have shown towards us. So we are one of the highest rated platforms on platforms like G2 Crowd and Gartner Peer Insight. And if you have not tried pCloudy yet, I would urge all of you to go and take advantage of the free sign up that we have. go ahead and try and share your feedbacks, and we'll be happy to help you there. So with the introduction out of the way, let's delve into the actual agenda of this session today. This is me in 2018, when I was giving a talk in one of the largest testing conferences in India. And the talk was around how to reimagine the future of testing through AI. And it generated huge buzz in the community. Post the session, a lot of people came to the booth and interacted and asked for suggestions on how to implement, where to implement AI within their testing cycle. But the matter of fact was that AI at that point of time was quite difficult to implement. The models were very complex to build. Data collection was a huge challenge. And the success of AI projects were in doubt as well. Fast forward to 2023, things have changed dramatically. And as the cartoon rightly predicts, you can go and ask AI to give you precise answers on where to use, how to use, and then use the same models to build AI for you. So with ChatGPT and OpenAPI's pre-built models, and there are so many other such platforms now available for us to use, these pre-built models are giving us access to the complex algorithms behind the scene on a single click. And using that, implementing AI, I feel, was never easier than this. So we have already seen so many chatbots coming into play across different use cases, auto generation of code, in context of testing, manual test case generation, etc., have become so much easier than what it was maybe a couple of years back. So we are truly living in great times where we can leverage AI for our testing space as well. And this is impacting everywhere, right? I mean, some of the data points that we have seen from the reports also suggest that. So IDC report suggests that 75% of the large enterprises will rely on some form of AI processes to improve their efficiencies, to improve product quality in all possible ways. And same data point reflects in Gartner report as well. When you ask this question, which technologies are most likely to be implemented within your organization, AI ML is one of the primary technologies. So look at how the industry is shaping up, and some of the reports reflect that trend as well. Now, we did our own research in last 6 months, and we published a report on AI-driven testing trends for 2023. It's a very detailed, extensively done paper, or to be very frank, a white paper, where you can go in detail as to what are the different use cases some of the industry experts are using or suggesting for 2023. So I would really urge all of you to go and download the report. It's available on our website, pCloudy.com, and take advantage of that. But there are some snapshots from that report I would like to highlight here. One of the key insights that we got in terms of which are the areas where AI is being used. So of course, visual AI is on top of the chart. Visual AI has been there in this testing space from last few years, and a lot of evolution has happened. There are much better APIs easily available for you to implement visual AI testing within your test cycles. So definitely visual AI comes top of the chart, which is no surprise. But then there are a lot of areas where the focus is on improving the automation script creation and automation maintenance. So creation of automation script, object identification, self-healing, etc. are the areas focused in the test automation space, where we see a lot of AI use cases being implemented. And then there are quite some interesting ones where it's about configuration, predictive analytics, impact analysis, where customers have already started using it. So diverse set of use cases where you can think of within your context, within your organization, to start using it. But again, if you want to look at the detail of these use cases, you can go ahead and look at the report. To be more specific on the use cases which are experts suggested, these are some of the use cases from the report listed without any order here. So very interestingly, things like synthetic generation can be done very effectively through UI. Visual testing we talked about. Bug classification, a big area where AI can help. Server configuration planning, auto trigger of test, auto code completion. There are so many areas where customers have already started using. And if you have not thought about it, again, please go and look at the report, and you will get some deeper insight on some of these cases. So with that, what I wanted to talk here is more on how we are leveraging AI within pCloudy. These are some of the areas where we have already solutions available. There are certain newer areas that we are working on, especially with all the generative AI becoming easier to access. So things like code completion will be coming up very soon. But there are three areas where we are specifically very, very strong at. First is increasing your test coverage. So most of the automation today is in form of either functional or API or unit tests. But how do you add a complete visual validation on top of your automation test cases, where visual AI comes into play? So it's a way to enhance your test coverage without kind of changing too much within your existing scripts. So that's the first section or first solution I want to talk about. Second is the self-healing. Automation scripting execution, we all know, has been going through this pain point of failing often. How do we maintain it? So self-healing comes as a solution where at least part of your maintenance can be done in an automated way. And as it is evolving, majority of the automation maintenance can happen through self-healing, but it has still some way to go. So self-healing plugin that we have released can really help you improve your automation speed. And third one is a test bot, which is a completely autonomous bot, which is responsible for speeding up your test cycle. So you can use it to do a lot of random tests on variety of devices and browsers, and take advantage of the report that generates. It generates very detailed reports. So we'll go through these use cases a little bit in detail. But as I said, three areas: increasing test coverage, increasing automation speed, and speeding up the test cycle is something we are focusing on right now. So let me switch on to a completely different environment. So what I want to show here right now is one of the case about a self-healing example. So here is an application, which is a sample application created by us, a simple page, which is a terms and condition page, which with two buttons, accept and refuse. And what I want to highlight here is, let's say we are planning to perform an action on this accept button, and this has certain properties based on which the action will be performed through Appium script. So you can see it has a resource ID and with the text accept. Now, what typically happens, we have seen so many such automation projects, is that when the next build of the application comes, the property of the locator changes and your script fails. So that's exactly what happens here as well. But before that, here is an Appium script. So on the top, what you see here is pCloudy capabilities. So it means it's designed to run on pCloudy platform. But that integration is just adding the capabilities. If you remove that, you can run it on local environment as well. And then a simple test case where we are clicking on this accept button. Um, uh, Nothing fancy here. Uh, but let's say we plan to run this test as a JUnit test, but you can use any kind of framework. This is not limited to Appium JUnit framework. You can integrate this plugin on any other tool as well. But right now it's for Appium and Selenium. So here what happens is when we are running, there is a new build available, and this build resource ID has changed. So you can see here now the resource ID has ACC instead of accept. And the changes could be in other formats as well. For example, this locator itself doesn't exist. So all that kind of object identification challenges we have seen, especially during execution. The question is, can this script run on its own? We are not making any change to the script. Can the script run on its own? So we are running the script here. And on the right side, you'll see the log. And on the left side, what you see here is the pCloudy interface. So here we are also, from the pCloudy interface, you can just open the device and start seeing the live execution. Since it's a very small script, the execution will finish very quickly. But as you can see here, it's running on a Samsung device. So the page is open. And on the right side, you can see the logs. So here, the page opens and it clicks on the accept button. So it didn't fail the script. It was able to click on the accept button. And on the log, you can clearly see that in the first iteration, it failed. It says that an element could not be located on the page using the given search parameter. But then it tries again and it does the self-healing. It changes the locator on its own and is able to perform the action on the application. So this is one example, a very simple example of a self-healing where you can go ahead and run your scripts without worrying about the changes in the application. And this happens through there is a process that is in place where you have to run the script few times to make sure that all the locators are in place within a database. And then the next time when it runs, it is able to figure out if there is any change in the locator. It can heal the script itself. So there is a mechanism that is in place. There is an open source project Selenium that we have taken and modified for our purposes. But you can also, for you, it's completely abstracted. You can directly use our interface and need not worry about this setup at all. That we have done it for you within the pCloudy interface itself. So you can just run your script. You will have to just run a few times to train the script, but after that, it can do the self-healing on its own. So that was the first example. The next example that I wanted to show you was around visual AI. So again, I'll take the same example of terms and conditions application. So here is another Appium script, very similar to what we saw. Again, pCloudy capabilities are in place. And then what we have done is for the same application that we just talked about, we have taken the base image of this page, which has, let's say, some text, terms and condition, the detailed text, and then accept and refuse button. And what's going to happen is in the next build, some of the text of this application changes, and also the color of the refuse button changes. And we'll see whether we can identify the differences and how good it is to identify the visual differences when the script is run on a new build or on different set of devices where we have seen the alignment is a problem or some text gets hidden. All those issues crop up during the cross compatibility testing across devices. So the base image is already uploaded in the script, and here is on the bottom you see a test function. And within the test function, there are certain commands that we have given, which are pre-built command. You can just insert it within your script without impacting any of your existing test cases. So it can be done at your page object level, or it can be done at your specific objects validation step. You can choose to do that, but these commands are available, very simple to just integrate within your Appium scripts, and you're done. Once that is in place, you can just run the script, and we'll quickly see the results. So same process, you can see the live view happening in pCloudy interface while you run the script. And it can happen in parallel devices together. So right now, I'm just showing it on one device. So again, just a simple script where it opens the page and then validates the UI. So when the script is completed, you can come back and see the result in your framework. Again, there are various kind of reports available, but this is a simple example of you see the report within your framework itself. So here you can see in this new build, the condition text is missing. It's only terms and, while in the original build it was terms and conditions. And then the refuse button has a different color. While in the original build it was gray, in the new build it is blue. So this is the result where you see the difference between the base image and the image which was taken at the runtime from the device itself, and on the build which was used for the execution. So it clearly marks that this is the place where there is a difference, and this is the place where the button has a difference. Now, right now, it's just mentioning that there is a difference. It's not telling you whether there is a color difference and things like that, but you can enhance the script to be where the script can start suggesting you what are the differences itself. So it can be enhanced, but in a simple way, you can find the exact differences or at the UI level through the Visual AI plugin. And the best part is you don't have to spend, on licensing of this plugin itself. It comes as part of the pCloudy package itself. So very simple to use and without any additional cost. So these two combined together, self-healing and Visual AI, can really improve the test coverage and also improve the speed. So with that, I'll go back to the next part of it, the third use case that I was talking about. So third one is more of a automation bot where you can just pass on your application. You can upload your application and provide certain parameters like login information or what kind of device metrics that you want to use. And once you provide that, the bot does the testing on its own. You don't have to write any script. You don't have to provide any other input. So it tries to navigate like an end user does on an application. And while it does the navigation, it captures various parameters. So for example, you can see this test was run on 10 different devices across different versions. And then it captures different parameters like how was the CPU performance, memory, battery. And it also captures the functional flows it goes through and screenshots of all the steps that it executes. So it's very good to use this bot when you are kind of planning to push your application to a final release on let's say App Store or Play Store, to do a final check across variety of devices and see if there are some crashes, some random failures. A lot of customers are also using it to do sanity tests before they start a more detailed regression test on their applications. So various use cases you can think of utilizing this for. So three different areas that we talked about. One is Visual AI, second is self-healing, and third is autonomous test, where pCloudy has been able to successfully use AI for your augmented testing. The whole idea is that you should be able to do more than what you're doing through some of these additional plugins or bots that we have created. And as I said, we are coming up with more such additions to the product where you can do more AI augmented testing through the use of AI-based plugins or bots. So, in conclusion, just to end this session, what we talked about, it's clearly visible that AI augmented testing can enhance your test coverage, efficiency, and speed. It's no more just in theory. These solutions really work, and we have seen huge advantages our customers have been able to take from some of these plugins that we have created. And a lot of cases, customers have built something on their own, because now the models are so easily available. The image difference APIs are so easily available. So you can think of building on your own as well. But if you don't want to do that, you can take advantage of something that pCloudy has created. So if you have not thought about where to use, I think this is the right time to start experimenting, because there hasn't been a better time to include AI within your testing vision or testing strategy. And if you want to know more about the AI use cases, I would really urge all of you to go and download the report from pcloudy.com. You will find it on the homepage itself. So with that, I will conclude my talk and session. Thank you so much for listening. Hope to hear more from you. As I said, there is a free trial available. You can go and sign up. We'll be more than happy to help you. I'm really keen to take up any questions that you have. Thank you so much for your patience.
All right. Awesome session. Got a lot of questions coming in. So keep your questions coming. The best way to ask, I see some in the chat, but the best way to ask is actually use that Q&A tab and submit it so I can bring it on screen. I'll also be looking at chat just in case, but if you could do me a favor, rather than put it in chat so I don't miss it, put it in the Q&A tab under Slido. That would be awesome. Right, Avinash, we're about to go live. Let's do this. Hey, Avinash, welcome to the Guild.
Hey, thank you, Joe. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm really glad that so many people joined the session, and there is so much of interest. Thank you so much. Yeah, really glad to see what are the questions and take it up.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're getting a lot of questions. I'm going to take the ones in the chat right now because they're not in Slido. First one is, which is a good question. I think Nareen wants to know, what is AI augmented testing?
Okay, interesting. So, I mean, it's as the term suggests, we have been doing testing for quite some time. I mean, in the beginning, it was all manual. Then we started doing testing in an automated way where there are tools which are supporting the testing and improves the efficiency and speed. Now, what we are trying to do is use AI to further augment your testing. So, for example, I mean, if I take a specific case of visual AI, I mean, that can only be possible through use of AI. Till few years back, it was not possible to validate the UI differences across various devices or across various browsers. So visual validation was all manual. But with AI coming into play, with all the computer vision APIs becoming very effective and easy to use, now we are able to enhance the test coverage and improve the overall test efficiency and the quality of the product. So this is a very good example of AI augmented testing, where you are able to increase the test coverage by including visual AI within your testing. So anywhere you include AI to either enhance the speed or increase your test coverage or provide more analytics, can be termed as AI augmented testing. It's just kind of supporting what you're doing right now and giving you better efficiencies.
Nice. So I guess another question, Saif, SAIF wants to know, can we talk about manual test case creation use cases? Can you leverage AI to do this? I think you talked about a bot. I don't know. Does that help with that?
Yes. So we, in fact, we have been working on it for some time, and we hope to release it quite soon. So basically, I mean, if you have used ChatGPT and if you just ask a question, can you write a test case for a login page? It can give you all kind of answers with very detailed scenarios, positive, negative test cases. So with the language generation models that we have in place right now, either through ChatGPT or some other AI models, it's now very easy to just pass a natural language question with some more parameters, and then get the answer from the model itself. So those kind of models are very useful to do manual test case generation, where you just pass on some parameters, and then it can give you very detailed manual test cases, which can be a starting for you. I'm not saying that these models will give you 100% manual test cases, but a lot of times we start from very basic. We spend a lot of time writing those basic cases, while these models can give you 60-70% of the basic cases, and then on top of it you can add the advanced one from your side based on your subject matter expertise or understanding of the application, user context, and all that. So again, this is a good example of AI augmented testing, where your manual test case generation can be done, let's say 60-70%, and then you focus on adding those 30%, and maybe add more cases which are missed right now because you don't have time. You can focus on more corner cases, more negative scenarios, rather than focusing on the standard basic scenarios. So that's where manual test case generation can help. And you can just go and try ChatGPT. Just ask some questions for your maybe your in the context of your application. You'll be surprised to see the answers there.
Now, I've been messing around with ChatGPT since it was released. It is crazy what it could do, and it's only going to get better. So I definitely agree with you. Get started now, messing around to learn how to integrate with it.
And the best part is it provides model where you can train with your own data. I mean,
right, yes.
As I 2018, it was very difficult to find a model where you can train and also find out that kind of data to train the models. But now those models are very easily available. So that's the advantage we can take in the current scenario.
100%. So we get a lot of questions. Here's one. It says, including visual testing might increase test execution time, might impact the release schedule. We have multiple releases a day. Any thoughts on this?
No, that's a very interesting question. So what we have seen is our customers, I mean, having two sets of overall automation suites. One which focuses on the regression test cases, the functional ones, which are run frequently as part of their build release cycles. And then have another automation suite, which is having the visual validation as well, which is run as part of system test or on a fixed duration. So you can always separate these two out and run based on your requirements. So that's a strategy a lot of our customers take. But you're right. If you include visual validation as part of every testing cycle, it can definitely increase the execution time. So, and not only that, for example, a lot of our customers use performance capture data as part of regression testing. That also increases the execution time. So what they do is they don't do it as part of the regression test. They do it as part of their unit tests or API tests, where they capture a lot of other parameters, while in the regression test, they focus mainly on the functional validation part of it. So that kind of strategy can be taken.
Nice. All right. Next question is, you mentioned the plugin multiple times. I think you based it on another technology, but they want to know, can you share the plugin with us?
So the plugin is part of our pCloudy offering. We have taken, so this plugin that I was talking about is, I mean, there are two plugins. One is the Visual AI and one is the self-healing one. So Visual AI plugin is available as part of our package. So let's say if you buy a pCloudy package, it's available. The documentation, you can go and read what kind of commands that you need to add. We can share that information. The self-healing plugin is based on an open source project called Helenium. So that Helenium plugin is available for you to directly use, but it requires some modification for your projects, some setups to be done. It can be a little complex to do that. it requires certain amount of technical skill to do that. But you can still go ahead and use that open source plugin itself. If you don't want to do that, you want to save time setting up and managing that infrastructure on your own, you can again use our plugin, which is available as part of the pCloudy offering. So if you buy a license, that plugin will be available to you, and we can help you do the initial handholding or initial onboarding to start using it.
Great. Next question is, self-healing used to get trained on element locators or element based on visual.
So right now, self-healing is based on the locators. We are working to improve or kind of mix these two together, where it also identifies the differences in the UI part of it, and then self-heals the script. Also, let's say there are certain new objects in place, we can start making suggestion as to if you want to add scripts for certain new objects. So some of those use cases are still work in progress. But right now, if there are any changes in the object IDs, the locator of the object changes, those are pretty well handled, which takes a major part of the automation maintenance effort, especially in the when you are running the functional test cases. Build to build, we have seen so many times the object changes. The developers just modifies the object properties without intimation, and the script fails. So that is a major boost because of the self-healing plugin, where at least that part of maintenance is taken care of.
Great. How reliable is the self-healing feature? Does it identify and spot all the changes in the new build and pass the script execution?
So, I mean, all the changes is a big term. As I mentioned just before answering the other question, right now it focuses the changes in terms of the object IDs or locators. Um, uh, but some of the other changes, like let's say new objects or UI changes, that still needs to be handled. We are working on some of those areas as well.
Nice. So another question is, can pCloudy be integrated with other Appium? Can be integrated with Appium only, or does it also work with other commercial tools? And they just list out a few.
Absolutely. So we are very strong on the open source side. So Appium Selenium is one of our core strengths, but we have integration with a lot of commercial tools. Test Complete is one. Catalan, Ranorex. We haven't got much requests. So, but if there is a need, we can integrate it very easily, because again, the integration happens through APIs, and all the integration APIs are available with us, so we can integrate with any new commercial tool. But there are already many commercial tool integrations already in place. Like I mentioned, Test Complete, Catalan. There is another tool, Opkey. So most of these integrations are already in place.
Can AI help with API testing? Is this just all functional image based now?
So it can. It can. I mean, we haven't yet tried AI in the API testing side, but I mean, it can. I haven't thought about which part of API testing can be used as part of the AI, but I mean, there are areas that can be explored there. I'm not very sure which part of API testing can be done through AI right now,
I know one.
but I can.
Yeah, it's a solution that sniffs your traffic in production. And then based on that, it creates the APIs for you automatically. So it knows what APIs the users interacted with and almost like creates a model. So really cool stuff. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So another question is, I think it's a follow up. You kind of touched on it, but can manual test cases be created using this plugin? And what inputs would be required to do that?
So, I mean, the plugin that we have right now doesn't generate manual test cases, but we'll be coming up with that plugin very soon. So just watch out the space. Just keep following us.
Nice.
You will see some releases very soon on that as well.
Great. Are the tests getting executed locally on a local machine, or is it getting executed on your cloud?
So the example that you saw in the demo, the test cases are getting executed on our cloud. So these are real devices on our cloud, real browser instances on our cloud. So you just need to add the pCloudy integration code, and then it starts running the scripts on our cloud. But you can just change the Appium endpoint, and you can run it on your local as well, and just comment out the pCloudy code, and you can run it on local. So it's as simple as that.
How much vision testing is accurate with the help of AI in terms of condition text and color, the one which can easily catch? But I'm curious to know how a minor difference vision testing can catch. How minor? Yeah.
This is so visual AI, especially with the evolution of computer vision APIs, have become very accurate. So it can identify very minor differences, alignment issues, shift in the placement of your objects, minute color differences. Uh, the APIs are very accurate, and you can use it very effectively to find out these differences. The only challenge is in some cases, once the result is out, you still will have to figure out whether this is manually a bug or it's just tolerable for you. I mean, sometimes the results can be overwhelming, and if you log all the bugs, then it might not be accepted by your dev team. So that's where I think there is some bit of filtering required, where the manual intervention is needed. But otherwise, in terms of identifying the difference, and it can identify the minor ones as well very accurately.
Okay, so being an organization, we need to use pCloudy for our client requirements for test cases.
So pCloudy can be used for one is on the cross device compatibility testing. So, for example, if you're building an app, mobile app or a web app, and you want to test across variety of devices or different browser combinations, you can just use pCloudy to test your applications there, or you write an automation script through Appium, Selenium, or any other commercial tool, and then use pCloudy infrastructure to run it on parallel devices, which saves a lot of your time. And then take advantage of some of these plugins to again enhance the test cases without kind of spending much effort on your side, and improve your test coverage, efficiency, etc. So use pCloudy as an infrastructure where we are providing all the tools and the devices, browsers, to make sure that you are just worried about writing your test cases or thinking about what are the use cases, and all the infrastructure and tools are provided by us.
So if people have a lot of Appium tests already, or a lot of automated tests, how easy is it to incorporate the self-healing into existing Appium scripts?
Very, very simple. So the way we have designed this plugin is you just need to add few simple commands wherever you want to either include your visual AI or the self-healing plugins. All the other technical complexity is abstracted out at our end. You just need to go through our documentation and or look at the examples that we have given, add those commands in your script, and you are ready to go. So it's very, very simple. Anyone should be able to use it.
Okay. Does self-healing also identify UI text level changes and pass the script execution? Or do we have to use visual AI for UI related changes? For any UI related
So
changes?
yes, it's a very good question. And in fact, in the demo, I wanted to combine these two and show one demo. So you can combine both of these to find out the UI changes, and then use self-healing to make sure that the changes are healed automatically. So right now you'll have to combine both of these. As I said, right now self-healing takes mostly the object identification changes. Some of the UI changes or new object additions will have to be handled separately. That is not yet included, but it's evolving. It's we are adding more and more capabilities there. So 3 months down the line, think there'll be different set of features available in the plugin.
Nice. Interesting question. Can they incorporate both features, self-healing and visual AI features together in the same script?
Absolutely. And two separate commands, and you are good to go. In one script, you can add both. Absolutely.
Okay. New parallelization would come up, but can I use visual AI features in my test execution and running for parallel devices? It doesn't identify the changes on multiple devices and provide different images for both devices.
Absolutely. So the concept is that you need one base image. So one image which you say that this is my past test case in the testing terminology. And then you run it on, let's say, 10 different devices or 50 different devices. So the base image will be compared across the 50 different device screenshots for that particular page or the object. And the base image gets compared with those 50 different images. So you can run it in parallel and start seeing where are the differences. So very much possible. That's how it works.
Excellent. Can I verify the text if that exists on an application page using visual AI? I guess like a check.
Absolutely. So you can enhance. So what we just saw was a very basic implementation of visual AI, but you can just keep adding more commands to figure out. As I said, you can ignore certain kind of differences. You can highlight certain kind of differences that you predict in your application. You know that these are the kind of problems we have seen in past, and I want to make sure that in future builds those problems do not exist from the visual perspective. So you can focus more on those kind of differences and ignore rest. So there are, I mean, simple commands which will give you all the differences. But if you want some specific answers, you can keep adding more kind of complexity to it. So it's possible, very much possible.
So can bots be configured to provide application data like username and password?
Yes. So I mean, for applications which require login, you can just add username, passwords, and then it uses that information to navigate. Um, Plus, you can add more set of data. So, for example, there are applications which are very dynamic. The business logic within the application is based on some data. So, if you don't select, for example, a city information. So, if you select a city, let's say New York, then the field will be different. If you select a city, let's say California, the field will be different. So, in that case, you need to specifically mention that the city field should be selected as New York. So, bot will take care of that information as well. But I mean, uh, bot has, I would say, 70%, 60 to 70% of accuracy, in the sense it might not be able to identify all the pages or all the forms, especially in the application like these where the page or the data changes based on certain selection. Because let's say if there are hundreds of cities and for each cities there are different set of data, it will take a lot of time for bot to crawl through it. So we have done some, I mean, we have made some restrictions there just to make sure that testing happens in a within the stipulated time. So you might see certain parts of your application not being crawled because of the fact that that application has certain dynamic uh, objects or certain dynamic pages based on the data that you provide. So more data that you provide, more accurate the bot will be, but it might take more time. So that's the I mean trade-off we'll have to think about.
So I know you mentioned in your session that you rated really high, customers love you. So I'm just curious to know, do you have any feel for how much time maybe or case studies you've saved, pCloudy saved customers maybe using these features or anything like that?
We have seen 10x ROI for our customers. The execution time, I mean, a lot of customers have 20x improvement in their execution times because they can do so much parallelization. Earlier, I mean, in the traditional way, you run it on few devices on your local environment. But as soon as you integrate pCloudy, you can just run it on 20, 50 devices in parallel, depending on what kind of package you buy. So it just gives you exponential scale. But I would say minimum of 10x kind of ROI you can achieve very quickly using a platform like pCloudy.
Can I choose the devices of my choice when executing my tests through the bot?
So right now we ask for certain parameters as in terms of what is your location of the users, high level device metrics information, and then we identify the device metrics on our own. But we are coming up with a feature where we'll take the input directly from you as to these are the devices of my preference. So bot should run on those itself. But the bot has been designed in a way to give you maximum coverage. There are no repetitions of the devices. It tries to maximize the different versions of the operating systems, different screen sizes, so that you get a good mix of devices and you see a diverse result there. But we'll soon come up with that feature where we'll ask users to give us that list of devices itself.
Cool. Does the bot actually capture screenshots, crash logs, post execution?
Absolutely. So all that information is there, along with a lot of other parameters like CPU, memory, performance. All these are performance parameters that we by default capture as part of every execution. But and you rightly mentioned, crash is one of the most a critical area where a lot of our clients use, because bot by nature does a lot of random activities where the chances of crashes are higher than what humans do. And plus, when it runs on a variety of devices, we see a lot of crashes coming up. So most of the customers look for crashes during this bot execution.
Great. Okay. Next question is, so I know you already mentioned this, but just in case for anyone that missed it, they want to know, how does self-healing work? Any simple example?
So as I showed in the demo, right? So for example, there's an object. The demo that we did was on on a button object which had the object ID where the text was accept. But in the next build, let's say the text accept changes to accept one, or let's say they remove the accept at all and make it dynamic. So that is where it will try to find out if there are changes, and it will try to heal those changes on its own. Or for example, the in the first build, the object was identified by ID called resource ID, but in the next build, the resource ID itself is not available, and there is some other ID which is available uniquely. So it will pick up those changes automatically and tries to make sure that the script doesn't fail. So these are some of the examples of where when self-healing can happen.
Nice. How soon does the device become available on pCloudy after a device launches?
So our commitment is to make it available within 2 days of the launch.
Oh.
But our record has been that we have been able to launch it at the same day itself, because we have tie-ups, we do a lot of pre-bookings. So as and when the device is available in the market, we have been able to launch those devices within the same day it's available in the market. And when we talk about, for example, operating system versions, we start with the beta versions itself. So if there is a beta version available, same day you'll find that in our platform. And when the main version is released, the public version is released, that also gets available within the same day. Because we are part of the beta programs for Android and iOS, so that gives us the access before it's available for everyone.
So we're running out of time. 2 more questions. Let's do a lightning round. How long does it take to complete the execution of my test through a bot? Is the test duration configurable?
So it's not configurable, but what we have seen is typically it takes anything between 30 minutes to 1 hour for execution to get completed. Sometimes if the application is very simple, it can also get completed in 15, 20 minutes. But anything between 30 to 60 minutes is what we recommend to our customers. So once the execution is complete, you get a notification, and then you can go through the reports. And you want to rerun it, then you can rerun it. Rerun will be slightly faster because the bot is trained already. The rerun will be faster, and also there'll be a better result as well. So as and when you do more execution on the same application, the results get better.
And once the execution is complete, can I share the results of my bot test with my team members, stakeholders?
Absolutely, you can do that. There is a shareable report, like Google shared link. You can just create a shared report link and share it with your stakeholders and members.
All right, hey, those are all the questions we have. Great session. Before we go, though, Avinash, any parting words of wisdom you want to leave the guild?
No, really exhilarating session. The kind of questions I'm so happy to hear such an interactive session here. Thank you so much for everyone participating so enthusiastically. And Joe, a great session. Thanks for organizing it. You're doing great job in bringing this community together where we can learn, share, and get such nice feedbacks. So thank you so much. Glad that we partnered, and we'll continue to do so.
Absolutely. Great session. Loved working with you also. Hopefully we'll have you back on the guild. Thanks again. Awesome stuff.
Thank you.